going to avoid the oi clap because we have someone on our set with sensitivity issues.
He's going to judge us the entire time.
The minute I clap, he goes ape shit.
Yeah. Well, the Browns, huh?
Yeah.
Let's avoid him. Interesting week.
Yeah.
Going against the Arizona Cardinals in Cleveland Sunday at 1 p.m. And they have Clayton Tune, 5th-round pick
Or
this
Kyler
year.
Murray.
Or Kyler Murray. But Clayton Tune is a 5th-round pick from this year's draft.
Wow.
They traded away Josh Dobbs, who we traded them for a 5th-round pick 2 months ago, and they traded him to the Vikings. So they currently only have Clayton Tune and Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray is a questionable go because obviously he tore his ACL last year, and so he hasn't taken a snap this entire year. Obviously he's been out. So Clayton Tune, we don't really know if we're gonna have him or Kyler, and if Kyler comes back, is it going to be the Kyler that we know? That's a big question mark.
It was to be said that they wouldn't know the decision until 90 minutes before kickoff.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's a lot to take in. So maybe over there in Arizona, they're pulling the Stefanski method and doing the same thing we're doing with Deshaun.
Yeah, but
Question marks everywhere.
The thing is, though, when you do that, it's like we saw that. I feel like this is the same scenario where it was kind of like with like the Baltimore game, right? Where it's like, well, if you don't know, that quarterback doesn't know. That quarterback is maybe taking partial reps the entire week, and on top of that, they don't know if they're playing. So Clayton Tune, it's their first start ever, in the NFL, and you don't know. It kind of reminds me of the DTR start. Like, how comfortable are you going to be? You're kind of be when you're walking on eggshells. If you're going to play, you're kind of indecisive the entire day. And if they do go with him, like, that's concerning on their front. And for him, as a first start, you kind of don't want it to just kind of be thrust in there an hour before, like, hey, you're good to go. Let's go. That's a big concern. But if it's Kyler, another concern is his injury. Is he 100%? And if he is,
he's going to have to knock off some roster.
Yeah, for sure. And that also changes up the entire defensive game plan for us. So, big question marks when it comes to that offense. But when it comes to the Cardinals' defense, what do you feel?
Well, the Cardinals' defense has been a very big bust on this year.
Yeah.
They're ranked, towards dead last against the pass, giving up the highest completion rating for quarterbacks in the league. They made Lamar look like an air raid quarterback last week. It's kind of been the trend all year. They have been giving up big yards on the ground. So this is a good opportunity for the Browns offense to put some points on the board because they are giving up the most points in the league right now. Defensively, the Browns really got to pick it up on the run game.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks has been rough.
They've been shredded on the ground.
Yeah.
And it's an Arizona offense that was able to get 140 yards on the ground last week against a tough Baltimore defense.
Sure thing, yeah.
So there's a lot going on this week. Once again, same message. Who's our quarterback?
And then on the opposite side, who's their quarterback? So, this is the weirdest. This is probably the weirdest game that we've had at cover this week or this year.
It's a rock, paper, scissors, shoot kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at on paper, the Browns are clearly the better team. The thing is that this Cardinal team is as bad as they do look at certain cases and certain points in their record. They're in it almost every week.
Yes,
and they fight for every single yard. They're always in the game, and. They're not as bad, and I really do think Gannon really has them going and believing in it. So that goes a long ways, and you can't discount this team. Like I said, they're always in it. Like they're 1-6, but like
I mean,
They don't play like a 1-6 team.
they took the Ravens down to the wire. I
Exactly.
mean,
Yeah.
their one win wasn't like it was a small team. They beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So that's a big win for them.
Yeah. I guess the only concern is the consistency was like it or not, was Josh Dobbs.
Hmm.
And now they don't have Josh Dobbs. If Kyler isn't good to go, then Clayton Tune, we'll see. And it's interesting. You kind of only have preseason tape and college tape on this guy, and
Yep.
relatively limited. So, uh, yeah, the defense, our defense, needs to really step it up, especially on the run game, because they're obviously going to rely on the run game a lot, and and vice versa. We're going to need to run the ball a lot. Kevin already came out and said that if Deshaun isn't ready to go, it's PJ Walker again. So I know there earlier on in the week it was kind of a concern, right? It was like, do they start DTR? Do they start Walker? It's Walker.
Or do they make a move for another quarterback, which did not happen?
Did not happen the trade deadline. Let's cover the trade deadline really quick. As some of you may know, we traded away DPJ. I don't love that trade
For a
because
2025 6th-round pick to the Detroit Lions.
which I love. He's back home. Uh, he was a great staple in this offense the last few years, and he was a 6th round pick himself. So you think about how limited, I guess, cash funds we gave him over the last 3.5 years. He's on a contract year that he was out the door after this year. We weren't gonna pay him. We just drafted Cedric Tillman to basically replace him.
Which he'll be coming off the nut box this week
and I
finally getting some reps.
Yeah, and I will say I think he's a better prospect and than DPJ ever was, but DPJ held his own, had very good seasons here with Cleveland, and I really liked him as a person and as a player. This year, limited reps. It doesn't even have 100 yards on his name this year. 97, I believe.
Only 14 targets the whole season.
So that kind of tells you a lot. But obviously the trade value wasn't there, but we still had to move off and get something. Unfortunately, best of luck to DPJ in going into an organization that we both love.
Yeah.
And we would consider basically as a team B for us that we really like.
Kings of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I love the Lions. So Detroit's Cleveland in Michigan. So I love the people of Detroit and the
they're legalized Cleveland.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. But yeah, no, best of luck there. So onto it. Onto this week, we're basically looking then at Amari Cooper, Elisha Moore, Cedric Tillman, David Bell. Those are the guys, and Marquise Goodwin. So, not much of a shakeup there. Obviously, this next man in line, and Tillman's going to replace those snaps.
Yep.
So
maybe we'll see a little more of the rookie. Another rookie, not a rookie, but a young guy that I'm kind of excited to see get an opportunity with DPJ getting traded is David Bell.
Yeah.
Even though he's down with a knee injury, but still having them extra reps that you wouldn't have had with DPJ on the field.
Sure. And I think that came into a big factor as well. It's like, you only have a few more weeks with him as a Brown. Let's get something for him and see what we got with these guys going to the offseason.
Yes. Right? Yep. But we'll go ahead and move off the deadline and just move right into the keys of the game.
Yeah.
Keys of the game? Our Royal Donuts keys of the game.
Go.
All right. I think the obvious one is if you're playing a rookie quarterback, the ideal thing to do is,
pressure the hell out of them.
Pressure the quarterback.
Yeah.
Hey.
Which they've been doing in and out each week.
They've been very good at.
The pressure's been heavy.
Yes, and this might be another Browns defense kind of game that we need them to step up and win. It's just young quarterbacks, they struggle under pressure. It's a common theme every year. Um, you blitz them enough, they're gonna break.
Yeah.
And you can't just let the quarterback have a day and pick apart your defense. But luckily, our secondary has been very good against all quarterbacks this year, ranking number one in completion ratings against their team.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing in the low 70s,
Yeah.
which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, and Zach Ertz is on IR, so
Yep.
tight end is, they don't have the most
You gotta
deep.
watch out for Marquise Brown.
I was gonna say Marquise Brown,
Rondo Moore.
yeah, but I mean, once you get past those, it's kind of who knows.
It's
in my opinion.
It's a very thin team, but they're going to be hard nosed and very tough to beat. They're not going to go away.
Yeah.
So I think you got to cut the head off the snake with the quarterback play and pressure that young quarterback.
Sure. Yeah. I guess the second keys is, run the ball. Just run the ball.
It's a key every week.
It is a key every week.
Run the ball.
It's a key every week. But man, I mean, you saw it last week. We did running back by committee, and all these guys played really well. If you saw our video on Monday, in our review, it was yeah. I mean, we had great stats across the board. 3 running backs over 30 yards each. Pierre Strong looked great. Jerome Ford looked great, even though he was injured. And Kareem Hunt had a great game. So continue doing that on this defensive line that isn't very consistent and deep. Once they start throwing those rotational pieces,
Yeah.
good luck. Keep running the ball. This is a team that I feel like you can beat with a limited air raid from PJ Walker and consistently run the ball and do a lot of checkdowns. The checkdown game worked incredibly well last week. Let's continue doing that. And also, I think another big thing is utilize David Njoku is going to be massive. I feel like this week.
Yeah. So the Cardinals defense is prone to giving up a lot of yardage to tight ends throughout the season. Mark Andrews had himself a field day last week, and I could see David Njoku having another big game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say one more key to the game,
Yes, sir.
which is something that they really have to clean up, is the turnovers.
Yeah.
The Browns.
Yeah.
The Browns need to win the turnover battle here. They're number one in the league in turnovers. And that's the worst thing to be number one in.
Yeah.
With 17.
Yeah. And here's the thing though, it's like
it's
PJ.
It's
a lot of PJ.
The Browns have rolled out the worst quarterback play with Watson and PJ Walker out there together. So,
and I like PJ, but man, it's like, every week you're getting it's basically 2 picks a week and at least 1 strip sack per week. It feels like.
And you're lucky that your defense is holding most of these teams to nothing or to a field goal.
Yeah. It kind of feels like the Steelers, except Steelers do have like, a quarterback that can actually move the ball. But I do like PJ. PJ did play good last week, but we need to limit those turnovers. Those turnovers have been.
You might be watching the wrong Steelers there, buddy.
What do you mean?
Move the ball.
Well, yeah.
Do you see that offense?
Okay, fourth quarter. I mean.
Oh yeah.
Take into account
the one quarter that Kenny Pickett has to play.
Get rid of the first 3 quarters and give them 2 drives. They're going to be in the game. That's what I mean. Najee Harris can't run the ball at all. Like he gets like 1 or 2 yards and falls. You know what I mean.
Because Matt Canada does not have a clue.
Yeah.
But
all I'm saying, a quarterback that at least throw the ball and it has a target.
All right. Well, I think it's time to move to another one of our favorite segments, our cowtails.
Oh yeah.
Players to watch.
I love them cowtails.
Oh yeah. I think we just gotta keep the ball rolling with our boy, PJ Walker again. When you're a spot starter for 4 or 5 weeks, and you have 7 turnovers to your name,
1 touchdown,
and 1 touchdown. It's just keep it simple and don't make the tough throws.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and do what you do and Keep it simple. Let the defense win the game. Let the run game take over.
Yeah.
That I mean, Stefanski did a good job scheming up an offense for him last week, where he really didn't have to do much thinking, and just make a little toss here and there, and it was basically just screen ball.
Yeah.
Um,
I would,
but
I would like. Sorry, go for it.
but that's all I really gotta say
Okay.
about
I was,
PJ.
I was gonna say with PJ, I would like to see a little bit more play action. I think that would work something in his favor, especially when you get the running game started, right? Like I feel like that's something that you can reliably, turn on when you see, with
A little play action rollouts.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're running the ball consistently and a lot, especially something that, in my opinion, you should do this week, I think that's a very nice setup for a very nice gain across the field. Um, to David Njoku, Elijah Moore, or Amari Cooper. So my cowtail, though, I'm gonna toss this out to all three of them backs. All three of them backs. Split this up, divvy it up. I think you guys are gonna win us this game. It's gonna
Yeah.
be defense in this run game. Uh, Never shy away from it. I swear to God, if we get down a touchdown and Kevin just gets away from the run game and just puts it on PJ's back, we're losing this game. We need to run the ball a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And also, I like uh these keepers that we ran last week with PJ. Do some more of those. Uh, Run the ball a lot though. I think all three of these guys are very very talented and have a lot of a lot of stamina that they can continue to just keep going and going and going. Um, and I like what I see from all three of these guys. So I think putting it on their back and running the ball a lot, this defense, I don't think has the depth to keep up with what we have.
And I think finally the last cowtail will go to um, Sione Taki Taki.
Is he back?
He was back last week.
Okay.
Um, he is known as one of the prominent run
He's
stuffers.
limited last week though.
Yeah,
He didn't play. He didn't play a ton.
Yes, I mean, still the Browns being shredded on defense. Oh, it just so ironically, you know, being that Sione Taki has either not played or he's been limited.
And that's when you see these when the opposing offense has had these massive run games.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think he's been one of our top linebackers who's been an unsung hero of this defense for years.
Yeah, he's great at open field tackling. He stops backs. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
So I'm looking for Taki to have a big game this week if he's able to play.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And if not him, it's the rest of the linebacking core.
Yeah,
They need to really step it up this week.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen a lot of good things out of these linebackers, and that's one of the big things I feel like every year. Where like the linebacking core isn't as strong as it should be, but man, they've been playing good. They have been playing good.
Except the last 2 weeks.
Ex-
The last 2 weeks they've been awful.
Yes. Okay. I agree. But like, I do think that that piece of the puzzle is Sione Taki.
Yep.
Um
Taki.
and I think weirdly, and I've almost never said this, but Tony Fields have been playing decent. It's someone that's actually put in some work.
Yep.
And that's weird to say. I don't think I'd ever say that. And I said about Jordan Elliott with that sack a few weeks ago. I'm like, who? Wait, what?
And then he went back and
Yeah, he went right back to it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, really, like I said, this week, in my opinion, feels like a week that the game plan is you run the ball, give it to these guys in the backfield, make some easy throws, just continue moving the chains and have your defense like just hold this down and really give them a lot of pressure to Clayton Tune or Kyler if Kyler plays. I mean, he's gonna be rusty. Make it uncomfortable for him. And I feel like if you just do this, you're gonna win against this team. But you can't discount this team because, like I said, this team is in every single week and plays well and has these spurts where they do play very well. The thing is now, it's like the big question mark is Josh Dobbs is no longer there. How's the team going to play?
Yep.
I don't know. So we'll find out on Sunday. Um, Got one more segment, and Here you go. Go for it.
Oh, you want me to say?
How about you say it? Yeah.
All right, the Mike Lewis real estate games to watch.
Yeah. You go for it.
All right,
fine. You said it.
You got me to say now. You got all right.
I mean, if you want me to, I'll do it.
I'm going out of conference game.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise! I'm not picking a divisional rival here. I'm very excited to watch the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, it's the immovable object meets the unstoppable force. The division rivals in the NFC East. They're gonna be fighting for the top 3 for the rest of the year. So, I'm really excited to see this game. See if there's anyone that can stop the famous Philly tush push, it's gonna be the Dallas Cowboys.
Really good defense, man.
Oh yeah.
Dan Quinn really runs that defense nice.
Yes.
Well, who do you think is gonna win that game?
Ooh, well,
It's
in Dallas. I'm going upset and going with Dallas.
Interesting.
That's if Dak can show up. If Dak can't show up,
yeah, we'll see.
He's the anomaly in that.
I was gonna pick up Dak because Kirk was my quarterback in fantasy, and I was gonna pick Dak was on the waiver wire, and I looked at his stats, and it was like, teams that have a bottom 5 defense, he lights up. But then if they're top 5, dude, his stats are so bad. Where I'm like, okay, well. I'm gonna hold it off this weekend. Maybe I'll pick him up. I don't know, but I was like, it's not a go this week to pick him up. But yeah, I don't know. I do think Philly's gonna win it, but I think it's a toss up because they know each other so well, right? But my game is gonna be Cincinnati Bengals versus Buffalo Bills. I think.
Come on, Buffalo.
I think both teams. Need this win, right? Really, just as a proving point.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals are
Sunday Night Football.
They're on a hot streak. They're looking good again. And the Bills have a couple new guys, on their team after the trade deadline, and just a pickup of Lenny Fournette, which should be fun.
Lenny.
I'm very.
Lenny.
I don't know how he's gonna do, man.
He
looked pretty washed last year, but we'll see. I think it's gonna be a good game though, and I want to both teams need a statement win, and I think this is the perfect matchup for either of the teams to come out. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Bills. We need a loss for the Bengals, but Joe Burrow, man, looks like he's been rolling. So I don't know. So after that, what's your prediction? How you feeling about this week?
Well, I feel like I'm gonna grab me a beer and head down to the stadium.
Nice.
And I'm gonna have me another beer.
Couple beers. What?
Shot of tequila.
What?
Shot of whiskey.
What?
Some more beer. Oh man, it's gonna be. It's gonna be cold. I feel like it's gonna be like a boring game.
Yeah.
Backups playing.
Another thing though, why I think we should be able to win. It is cold, and Arizona's coming to town. Arizona is not used to the cold, and it's been freezing out here in Cleveland.
I feel like it's like the silliest thing in a way. Like we've always had that mentality, like, oh, we're Cleveland, we play in the cold.
But you don't want a dome for this reason.
But I've changed my mind. It's so silly because it's cold. This team from LA.
Well, you saw it last year with the Saints.
We gotta remember that most of the guys playing on our team are from Atlanta.
Yeah,
they're from Florida. Yeah. They're from Texas. They're from California. And we're like, oh, well.
But here's the thing, though. They do get reps outside during practice.
The Browns practiced yesterday inside.
They did practice inside.
They're going to probably be practicing inside today.
I don't care. Whatever. I want a dome. You don't want a dome. Blah, blah, blah. I think...
I've worked my way into a dome. I've accepted it.
Over the last, month?
It's been a couple months. Like before the season started, I was like, all right, dome it up. I think the Saints game is what made me, all right, dome.
Saints game was you went
And it
to a
wasn't
Saints game.
because we sucked. It was because it sucked.
It
The
was
weather was awful.
miserable, and we lost to a team that plays in the dome. So that's why I typically don't believe in it. But you know, I don't care. Okay, Browns at home in the cold. I feel like we're gonna take this one.
Well, score.
And Arizona is freaking 120 degrees.
All
It's
right.
your prediction. You go.
16-7 Browns. Weird scoring game.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going Browns. Obviously, I always do. Outside of one game this year, which we won, but I'm gonna go 20-13 Browns. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a relatively low scoring game, and a lot of running because it's gonna be chilly.
Running to the 6 with my woes. You know how that should go.
That you know it. So I think it's going to be a little bit difficult, throwing the ball. And I think we're just going to run it, and we have a better running game than they do, and we have a better defense than they do. So I think that's if Kevin just calls a good game like he did last week. I think obviously the Seattle Seahawks are a much better team than the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So I think we should be able to pull this one off and go to 5-3.
5-3 feels pretty good. And then you go to fucking Ratbird week.
I know.
Shit Hawks.
Yeah, so should be fun. I'll be at the game most likely. You'll be at the game most likely. We'll probably just end up going together.
Yeah.
Probably do that, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, thanks for watching, guys. Till next week, or till next Monday, until our game review. We'll see ya then, or we'll see you another time.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.